Hello, my name is Hegrisson Alves. I've known Conscientiology since 1995 and I've been studying Cosmoethicology since 2003. Presently, November 2018, I'm the General Coordinator of Cosmoethos, a conscientiocentric institution CI dedicated to the study and practice of cosmoethicology. So what is cosmoethicology? Cosmoethicology is the speciality of conscientiology which studies cosmoethics. And what is cosmoethics? Cosmoethics is the ethics or reflection upon the multidimensional cosmic moral which defines holomaturity situated beyond the intraphysical social moral or the moral which presents itself with any human label. Okay. But what should we reflect upon? Well, to begin with, there are two main concepts in the definition we must understand before we start talking about cosmoethics being a reflection upon something. And they are ethics and moral. These two important concepts are sometimes used interchangeably or even confusedly, but they have different meanings and their understanding lies on the basis of cosmoethics. Basically, moral is our behavior, that is, the way we behave, what we do, our manifestation, our attitudes, our actions, our conducts. For example, helping an old lady to cross the street, that's a moral act. Cheating in a test, that's an immoral act. But in general, we don't simply act for the sake of acting. Unless we are acting as robots, of course. We do things because we believe that's the right thing to do. And what makes us act in this way? What regulates our actions, our deeds, our conducts? Well, our beliefs, our values, principles, and even certain rules we subconsciously or not establish for our daily actions. In short, we can say that moral is what we do, influenced or activated by a system or code or group of beliefs, values, principles, and rules we all have, even if we are not aware of them. So our daily actions are derived from the underlying code of behavior we all have. And what is ethics? Ethics is when we stop to think about what we're doing, and mainly why we're doing it. That is, every time we reflect upon the reasons why we're doing something. Reflection in this case is the key word. To understand what makes us act in a certain way is not something we see happening every day. Normally, people do what they generally do without ever stopping to think about the reasons why or which led them to act in this way. Of course, reflection in this case is based on beliefs, values, and principles people share in this physical world, which is dominated by a reductionist, an intraphysical paradigm. Okay, but what is the relation between these two concepts and cosmoethics? According to Vieira, right, cosmoethics is the ethics or reflection upon cosmic moral, which is situated beyond social intraphysical moral. Again, we see ethics and moral, two important concepts, this time being used in Vieira's definition of cosmoethics, but with one major difference: cosmic moral, which is closely related to beyond intraphysical moral. So what does it mean? It means we now have two important concepts to work on, and they are cosmoethics and cosmic moral. Cosmic moral continues referring to our behavior, what we do, our manifestation, our deeds, our conduct. But now as the word cosmic shows, it goes beyond interphysical moral. And instead of interphysical values and principles, it considers, or should consider, evolutionary values and cosmoethic principles. That is, values which help us maximize our personal evolution and principles which take into account our evolutionary process. It sounds easy, doesn't it? At this point, you might be wondering, what's happened to our beliefs and rules? Well, if cosmoethics is the reflection upon our cosmic moral, it means we have to use our reasoning and discernment to understand what and why we do what we do, right? By doing so, we start questioning our beliefs and useless rules which take us nowhere and prevent us from moving cosmoethically. When we start using the principle of disbelief seriously and effectively, we change most of our beliefs into self-verpons, or delete for good those which make no sense any longer from our lives. The same principle applies to rules. We tend to change ineffective rules into useful and productive rules which help us maximize our time and daily routine, of course, towards our existential completism. But what is cosmic moral based on? As Vieira states in the definition, cosmoethics is situated beyond social, interphysical moral. And the only way to reflect considering what is beyond interphysical moral is by referring to a reference, a model, a paradigm which goes beyond this interphysical world. And this is the consciential paradigm. Right now in this world, this is the only reference we have which makes us think and understand what is beyond this world. But what is beyond this physical world? Well, the inevitable facts and perfects show us that we, 1, lived past lives and will live future lives. 2, use bioenergy to manifest ourselves. 3, manifest our reality in different dimensions. 4, use different somas or bodies to manifest our conscientiality. 5, express ourselves simultaneously through thought, sentiment, feeling, and energy, thought. 6, are able to research our own consciousness. It's important to emphasize that reflection upon our thoughts, sentiments, and energies, and why we think, feel, and act in such a way must be critically and cosmoethically used to help us evolve. It cannot be used to harass, annoy, or even upset us, or even to act as consensual intrusion. To critically and cosmoethically reflect upon our conducts should generate frequent interconsensual recyclings. Otherwise, it's not productive. To make us reflect, cosmoethicology is the science that studies what people do, how they behave, and why they behave in such a way. Self-cosmoethicology is then the science that studies what I do, how I behave, and why I behave in such a way. If cosmoethics is reflecting on our cosmoethic moral conducts, what we do, and our cosmoethic moral conducts, right, they should be based on the pillars of the consensual paradigm: self-research, multi-existentiality, multidimensionality, bioenergetics, holosomaticity, thought. Then, the closer we get to these pillars in our behavior, the more cosmoethic we become. As stated by Vieira, okay, one of the most important things related to cosmoethics is incorruptibility, which will take us to imperturbability. And as time goes by, the person starts to become serene. That's why Vieira's statement to evolve is to move cosmoethically make us understand that the quickest way to evolve is by studying and, of course, and mainly, right, applying self-cosmoethics in our daily life. Well, that's it. I hope I have helped you to understand a little bit more about cosmoethics and cosmoethicology, okay? See you then. Bye.